Hey, this is Sir Charles Carey. I want you to join me on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. for the TRU-MU podcast, True Music. That's where we talk about all things.
I'm a musician, singer-songwriter, producer, engineer.
All things creative.
Me and my co-host, Carl T. Smith, the smooth one, will be glad to hear you, glad to talk to you, answer your questions, and talk all things music. The TRU-MU podcast, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Be part of the energy.
I can see that thing that makes men stop, stand still, all in denial, suffer loss of will.
All right, folks, once again, it's Sir Charles Carey and Carl T. Smith. Man, what did I just mess up your whole last name? Carl T. Smith. What was that? Carl T.
That's the underground, whatever. That's all right.
Look, the Three Stooges and got in my brain and got me all Ricky Screwneck. But yeah, folks, it's time for us to do it again. We talk about all things creative, all things innovative. That includes music, that includes artistry, whatever your creative endure or endeavor is. For some reason, I can't speak today, but whatever your creative thing is, we're going to try to tap into it and bring you the type of people that show their creativity in their various genres. So with that being said, I will not belabor the moment. This young lady that I'm going to bring up, I've known her for quite some time, and she's got quite a bit to talk about. So let's just get right to it. None other than Sharon Parker, aka Sharon Lee, also known as Synergy Girl. Synergy Girl, how's it going?
Hello, Energy Girl's doing fine. Are y'all nervous back there? What is going on?
I don't know. I'm just like all over the place, tripping all over my lips.
Hello, Carl. Hello.
How are you? Good to see you.
Thank you. Same here. I feel wonderful. What's going on? Which I want me to talk about tonight.
Well, look, we know a little bit about. Oh man, I'm getting a call right now from my drummer. Sorry, guy, I got to get back to you. But we know a little bit about your background, but I understand that there's some things that are brewing. And come on, guy, come on. And I just want to find out what it is actually that's brewing. And I'm talking about not the 9 to 5-ish type stuff, but I understand that you're a commissioner, you are a company owner, you are an author, you've done endless or countless workshops, and understand something is about to be revitalized. Can you tell us about what's happening? What can we expect from you in the not too distant future?
Well, I would love to share it, but it's not fair to just jump into it without letting those who don't know me know a little bit about me. So
okay, will you take over? Go ahead.
So
good job, Sharon. Good job.
Hello. So first of all,
well, Carl.
First of all, guys, I'm a country girl, from Calvert County, Maryland. Born in the 60s, loving everything about music, entertainment, life, love dancing. Got out of Calvert County years ago and pursued a job in the government. And yes, I'm one of those fellow women right now. Okay. But God blessed me to work on an organization almost 20 years ago where I've built countless relationships with, legacy people, nationally, some global, and some just, in the metropolitan area. And I've done that under an organization called ROSA. And ROSA is a history organization. It means remembering our ancestors, a synergistic association, remembering what we all have in common, and then collectively finding out those gifts and jewels and tools within us so that we can help enlighten ourselves, to benefit the next generation. And that's my mission, and I'm living by it. So as it relates to who I am, I'm just a community servant leader who just wants to give back and have been working behind the scenes sometimes just to support large organizations just across the board. So even though Sir Charles know a lot about my background, that's just an introduction of who I am. But he wants to know what's brewing right now for me. God, it's a lot. It's a lot, guys. One
Can
thing
you
I
bring it? Can you excuse me? Can you bring the lid of your laptop down a little bit because we're only catching your chin?
Oh no,
Yeah, there you go, right there.
I'm there.
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
Sorry about that. Yes. So, what's happening now? So, I'm trying to be like Sir Charles and Mr. Carl T. Smith. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be like y'all.
Why
Okay.
would you want to be broke?
Well, oh, I didn't say that.
I don't receive it. I don't receive it.
I didn't say that. I know I'm talking about the creativity, right? I see you
Oh,
all out there, singing, moving, shaking and grooving and just having a ball. So, the way I shake, the way I move and where I groove is just, in the community. And I do it by connecting with, like I say, some unsung heroes, some trailblazers, entrepreneurs, the next generation. They're my passion. They're my targeted audience, but I do that through several platforms, as Sir Charles mentioned. But right now, I'm working on my third season of what I call a Sharon Lee Briefing podcast show. And we started back in 2023, where God has blessed us to just meet so many wonderful people. And we share their stories. We not only talk about it, we share video production of their story, and then we just educate the community about it. And
You've
I'm
had guests that are even international, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Absolutely. We've had people from England to come on. We just, we've made some great connections. We've done it through Rosa, and we've done it through other organizations that I support. So I'm not taking all the credit, but I just know that God just blessed me to be what I call a synergy girl. And a synergy girl is realizing that I can't do it alone. And I understand that. But I have to work with those, especially those on that upper echelon level, who can get me more exposure out there. And he's been allowing me to get that exposure.
So, what's the difference? Or I mean, I don't know if it's an alter ego thing. I knew Sharon Lee, which I kind of like had some look, in superheroes and comic books. Sharon, I knew Sharon Lee, but when I started hearing about Synergy Girl, I'm like, is that her alter ego, or is that the superhero? And is one the bad side and one the good side? I mean, what's the story with Sharon Lee and Synergy Girl?
All right, a great question. Yeah, you know a lot about Sharon Lee, because Sharon Lee is that other girl that will beat you up.
Oh,
And she,
she's catchy. Okay, but go ahead.
Bruce Lee,
got this recorded.
Bruce Lee, Sharon Lee in the house. Normally, I am a quiet, truly introverted person, but at times, I want to express myself, and sometimes I may need, my little glass of water to express myself, and I may come out a little stronger. You'll get to know what's really on my mind when Sharon Lee comes out. Um, no, I'm not rude. I'm not mean. I always like to be informative, educational, when it comes to inspiring people and motivating people. But you may get it a little more direct than what I would normally do on a regular basis. It'll be right in your face. I see you're doing this thing wrong. You may want to revisit that, because that's not going to get
So
you
is
anywhere.
that Sharon Lee or is that
That's
Synergy
Sharon
Girl?
Lee.
So
That's
who's
Sharon.
Synergy Girl?
Synergy Girl is like, oh my God, look what God has done to me to keep me on the path that I'm going. He's allowed me to connect with this national organization, to let me be the commissioner for the state of Maryland. He allowed me to, be an author, to host 10 conferences, to meet some major heavy hitters all over the DMV and across the nation. So now I want to share those people with the community in the world. So Synergy Girl is not only talking about building connections, collaboration, but literally going out there, making it happen, and now sharing those individual stories. I call them legacy builders, seekers, and keepers. So I share their story.
Now I know that Sharon Lee, with her bad self, had a theme song. Will Synergy Girl have a theme song as well?
You better believe it. This is the creative side that I gotta say, I don't sing, so I'm not like you all. I don't play instruments. I don't do it. I'm sorry, but I do have a family who does. I do have a niece and a nephew who work with me behind the scenes. Sean Parker, my nephew, and his wife Dana Parker, and Dana created my theme song for the podcast show. Sharon Lee, what is it? Was it Sharon? I can't even think of my own
On the
show.
Run.
No, Sharon Lee on the Run is the theme, but Sharon Lee Briefing podcast show. She created the theme for that, and Sharon Lee on the Run.
I
So
thought it
now
was
she's
pretty
going to
fly.
create one for Synergy Girl, and I can't wait for her to finish because I can't wait to introduce it when we launch our third season on October 24th.
Smooth, smooth. So now October 24th, you already got your first episode prepared. You got your guests ready and all that, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great, great. And how often will the show come out?
So when we did season 1 and season 2, we were doing it every Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, PM. And we're not going to do that. We're going to do it now every other Friday.
So
So
bi-monthly.
twice a month, every other Friday, twice a month.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
What you got, Carl?
Is it a live podcast or pre-recorded?
It's definitely a live podcast. It's similar to what you all's podcast is. We will air it on Facebook. We'll air it on the YouTube. We're trying to get it connected with TikTok and Instagram so it can air on all platforms.
Nice, nice.
Mm-hmm. And what's the focus of it?
Great question. Great question. To know a little bit about me and people who already purchased my book understand, if you can get it shining up over there, can understand what my story is. And the story is true synergy work leading within the 7 defining principles of knowing yourself to birth greatness. So what is that about? To me, that's about family history. You have to know who you are, where you came from, and most importantly, where you're going. Not only for yourself, but for your children, your grandchildren, and also your great grandbabies. You got to know how to educate them about yourself. So the show is focusing on identifying people who've done the work. They've gone out there, they wrote their book, they've done their genealogy, they even traced it all the way back to Africa, right? And they're educating their family right now in our time about their legacy, their lineage, and most importantly, how they're able to keep their legacy going.
So when did this book come out? The one that you're holding?
So True Synergy Work was actually released in 2017. It was released on a very significant year because that was the 5th year that I held my conference, which is called the Leading Within Conference. And what we do, we don't just, we a lot of people, I love them. They write 5, 6, 7, 8 books, right? But sometimes they forget about writing their autobiography, and they forget about how they have to use that book 24/7, keep it in the limelight 24/7, so that their families and friends would never forget their story. So the creative side of me, thanks to a lot of wonderful people in my life, like Sir Charles Curry, who stays on my back about learning how to be a videographer, a photographer, a web developer, a content creator. It's like, okay, you got to do it all. And because it's been painful doing it all, I've been able to do it. So the great thing about doing that is I can share that on my websites. I can share it at my conferences. I'm always talking about how important it is for adults to lead from within for the benefit of our next generation and also our elders.
And for those of you that are just chiming in, we're talking to Sharon Parker, Sharon Lee on the Run, Sharon Lee, aka Synergy Girl, and she's got quite a storied history from the workshop perspective as an activist, as a, I guess, multifaceted board member of sorts from different organizations. So if you have any questions, please feel free to post your questions. Feel free to ask questions. We'd love to engage you and find out what your thoughts are on this conversation. And if you're on YouTube, please do the same thing. One question is, I know the book you say came out in 2017, and you and I have had discussions offline and I know there was some thoughts of either 2.0 or another book or a follow-up book, and I imagine it's going to be in the same vein. Is that still part of your plan?
Absolutely. I'm writing my book every day. Um, hint, hint. Every time I make a post, I'm writing a book. Every time I inspire the community, I'm writing a book. All my content that I write, and this is for those who are wanting to get their new book out there. Your creativity is your intellectual property. How you share it with the community is how you share it. But when you share it on social media, it doesn't sometimes become yours until you make it yours. So grab everything you have posted and find a way to get it in a book, because you've been telling your stories for years. So my next book will be about true synergy work, but some may know that my family had 40 acres and a mule. And some may know that we were one of the families who kept it in Calvert County. And we were one of the families who were the first to have electricity in my hometown of Calvert County as well. But we almost lost some on my mom's side, but my family was able to claim it. But we still got to go through a little bit more challenge to get a house built on that land that we have. So when that is completed, my second book will be coming out, because this book, the first one, talked about all of the challenges that I had to go through with my family, not my immediate family, but cousins or whatever, to obtain my mom's property. I was able to do it, and now we're in the process of trying to get a house built on it, or two. So I'm working to make that happen, and that's going to be the second book.
So again, for those that have been listening and following this conversation, understand that it is important to know every facet of your business. Now, even though you may know every or various facets, it doesn't mean, excuse me, excuse me, that you'll always have to do it, but it's always good to know it so you know what's required to make your business function. And when you're hiring people, when you're outsourcing, you know what it takes, or if the person you're hiring is qualified to produce the results that you want. That's a very important component, but you'll never know it if you yourself don't know the various aspects or nuances of how your business is going to be run and how it should be run. So with that being said, I know in addition to the podcast coming back out October 24th, is going to be a bi-monthly show, which is fantastic. I also know that there's some other things, because I know that your eating habits over the past 10 plus years had changed, and you were thinking about, I mean, I know I've kind of been a little thorn in your side about it, but I was saying that there should be some things that we could do. And I don't even know if we should even talk about it here, because I don't want to, let the cat out the bag or let somebody else get the idea. But can you give any insights on that venture, or would you want to keep that on the wraps?
No, I can give a little insight because I'm promoting it now for the podcast show. So let me just give you a little bit background for Cara and the watchers out there, the guests out there. I stopped eating beef about almost 15 years ago now. I stopped eating chicken almost about 12 years ago now, and I stopped eating pork about a good 45 years ago now. So what I do, I love seafood, I love salmon, but I love turkey. Turkey. I can do. I can really pat myself on the back a little, throw down.
So many things you can do with turkey.
Anything turkey.
Turkey's the new chicken.
Anything turkey is my jam. It's my thing. I surprise a lot of people on what I can do with turkey chops, turkey wings, turkey soup, turkey breast. You name it. I am everything turkey. And for the podcast show, one of the things I'm going to give my guests, especially those who are in the area, they're going to have lunch on me. So they'll get a turkey lunch for them, but I am going to also be having orders placed for my everything, THANG, turkey, okay?
God, turkey.
Right. And it's going to be pre-order, guys, because it's very, very popular. If anyone had my cooking, they know this little country girl can throw down. I'm not bragging, but I'm bragging. Okay.
Wink,
I
wink.
can I can throw down a little bit. So, when I started Rosa back in 2008, I started selling dinners because that's one of the grassroots, I guess missions that we do is connect with people. And one of the ways to connect with people is through their stomach, right, and through their heart. So I would always sell dinners. So people out there, they know me for my dinners, and I think I've done a good job with that. But yes, I will be selling turkey lunch dinners on the podcast show. But you got to put your orders in a week in advance because believe me, they're going to go fast. So what was that acronym? POO? What is that? Pre-order. There you go. Pre-orders only. Okay. If you don't put your order in, I will not be able to serve. But please know that you're going to enjoy my turkey meals.
So now, I mean, the government, not the government, the government, the government has been shut down. So, from a perspective of mental health, did that have anything to do with you realizing that you wanted to do something productive or more productive with your time? Because Lord knows you don't know how to be still. So, did that have anything to do with?
I'm not laughing.
Look, do you want the Sharon Parker answer, the Sharon Lee, or the Synergy Girl answer? Which one do you want?
I'd rather have the Synergy Girl answer.
Nah, Sharon Lee.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna give you the Sharon Lee answer. Okay.
Oh Lord, Carl, you didn't ask for it. Hope you're recording this too.
I'm gonna keep it real. Before there was ever the word of government furlough, I've gone through them 5 times. I'm accustomed to the furloughs. One thing that I've always made sure that I focus on was not getting distracted, even amongst the chaos, even amongst the confusion. I've always been a worker behind the scenes 24/7. I do thank you, Sir Charles, for staying on my case to force me to learn all these skills, the technology, the creative aspect, because I think I have been very effective in branding my platform. You go to any of my websites, you go to any of my pages, you go to any of my posts, you're going to be always directed back to the brand. And the brand is leading from within with Rosa and Synergy Girl, because that's what I'm made of. So I know a lot of people are stressing, understandably so, but I did not wait for the government to tell me who I am and how I can take care of myself. I've been taking care of myself for years before the government. So I know how to hustle. I know how to build connections. And most importantly, I know how to serve on national platforms where if I got to call someone and say, hey, by the way, I may need a job, the odds are they're going to give it to me. Why? It's because I didn't wait around to make connections. I've been making connections for decades.
All right. So how do you feel you have been impacted, or what's your observation shared with you about how other people have been impacted since this,
Now I'm going to give you Synergy Girl, only because I want to be very, very sentimental and understanding and compassionate to people who've never gone through a federal government shutdown or a furlough. Everybody's life is different. Financially, socially, emotionally, economically, all of the above. So you never know how this furlough has impacted a family's home. I mean, we're not just talking about people like me who's an empty nester, that all my children are grown and they have children. You have people that have 3, 4, sometimes even 5 children. And if they work for the government, they can't take care of their children because they don't have funds coming in. So what I want to share with them is, and also with just the general public, is that, look, I know it's going to be hard. We're going to pray that they open up this government and we get our back pay. But at the end of the day, don't wait on that. Don't wait on that. Go out there, find a job, or find something that you can do to bring in money. Use your gifts and talents in your hands, if you will, to really bring bring funds in, because I know we are creative people. And I say we because I'm talking about people of color, because I know we are going to be hit harder than others. So just know that you have a lot of gifts and talents within you. Do not hesitate. This is the time to birth all your gifts, all your creative gifts, tools. Do it now. But at the end of the day, seek help. There's a lot of resources out there. The states have resources, the county have resources. Don't be ashamed to go out there and ask for what you want. Don't be ashamed to call someone up and say, hey, can you help me? That's part of being, just keeping it real, because you have your family to feed and you need a place for your family to lay their heads. So I just want to share that.
Mhm.
Well, I believe like one of my programs, one of my earlier programs, Find Your Pleasure, Find Your Passion, Find Your Purpose. And I think that sometimes things happen that we don't expect, don't want. We're thrust into these positions or situations, but it's an opportunity for us to look deeper within, or just look deeper, even on the outside in some cases, to find out where we really should be. I'm a true believer that most jobs are not who you are. That's just a means to an end. I think that we all have a skill, gift, talent, or an ability, and those innate skills, if you will, uh, in many cases are not honed because we've kind of drank the Kool-Aid and we're just, you know, going
Mhm.
9 to 5, doing what has to be done. Now, in some cases, that's required until you're able to tap into it. But for many of us, I know myself, we weren't comfortable enough to walk away or take a chance, or experiment with the risk. So we stayed on those government jobs or those 9 to 5s, and then look back and say, "Dang, you know what? I should have this, I should have that." What's your insight on that, Carl?
Well, yeah, I find that that's true. I mean, I kind of went the other way because I from I can't remember how far back. I'm only 21. No comment. Um, I've always kind of went for my own path. I always, um, even though when I had job, I did have quite a bit of jobs, but I was always going to do music. Didn't know exactly how far I was going to go. I just know that I was going to do it, and no matter what happens, that's what I'm going to do. So everybody, I guess I was a gambler, so I just went straight for it and just kind of stayed there, and it's just been that way. But a lot of times, that cushion prevents you from making it. Prevents you from you getting to your path.
Yeah, gambling on yourself. I'm
you
guilty.
know it keeps you from doing what you do, and with that I did follow what I wanted to do and stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I said, now that I think of it, I should have went right instead of left, that kind of thing, like that. Even though going left got me quite a bit of stuff, but going right, I probably could have done a little better. But I just say, as you work on what you're doing, or as you work on whatever it is, you got to come up with the thing that you love to do, so that you never work a day in your life, and then go after that, as hard as you can, while you hold whatever you need to do to survive.
And
But you
I'm
got to, but you got to go after that, because if you don't, then you're gonna, 50 years or 30 years or 20 years later, you're going to be sitting there, wishing that you made some kind of leap.
Yeah, because I'm a true believer that regardless of what path you take, there will be pitfalls in both paths or either path. You just have to, well, as they say, choose a lesser two. And I don't think that's really appropriate. The lesser of two evils. I think when you, like you said, find a job you love, you never work a day in your life, basically. So when you're choosing something that's near and dear to your heart, the hardships, they aren't that hard because this is something you love. So, for example, I'll take maybe all three of us, for lack of a better example. I know myself. I'm not a superstar, but you know what? Regardless of my status in the music industry, I'm still doing it because I love it. I'm not a household name. I still do it because I know it. My education in regards to music, just like with speaking, is vast, and I'm not a
Mhm.
household name. I still do it because I love it. So the pitfalls and the shortcomings and the investments that maybe have not blossomed into the fruit I would love, I'm going to keep doing it because I love it. In fact, that could be a good title for a song or a book, because I love it. I'm feeling that.
Well, I
You
really appreciate both of you all's perspective, and thank you, Carl, for sharing that. You went left, Charles. You kind of went in between left and right, and I kind of just went right all the way because I don't like I said earlier, I'm not a singer or a performer, and so I had no other choice but to go to school, go to college, get a government job, and just focus on okay, what am I going to do with my money? Do I buy a home? Do I buy a car? Do I buy homes? How do I take care of my children? So I was able to buy homes and everything, and cars, and took care of my children, and still have it today. So I went right and I stayed there. But now I'm in the service mode, and I've been in the service mode for, like I said, over almost 20 years now, since 2007. And that's because I want to be a servant leader, and I want to add value in society. And I don't want this upcoming generation, or even those behind me, like in the 30s and 40s, to go through some of the things that I went through growing up in the 60s. Looking at YouTube, from being from New York, I used to always dream about, New York. I mean, every group that you all talk about, that you sing about, I used to hear about those individuals in the country, but I always thought it was like a TV dream. It was like, okay, I'm never going to meet anyone from New York that knows, all of these producers and entertainers, but to have met you all, to see all the people and have been connected with, it's amazing. But I'm sharing, being from the country, our lifestyle was a lot different than what it was in the city. So we struggled. When I say struggled in the country, we struggled. We didn't have jobs in Cowrie County. We didn't have transportation in Cowrie County. We had to literally leave to go to DC to get a career job. So I encourage every young person out there. I'm telling you, they have moved the cheese, babies. They have moved the cheese. Okay, you gotta get an education.
Well, I
You
can tell you
gotta
this.
you got to get a trade. You have to. It's just no doubt about it. And you definitely, if you can get into college, do it, because the doors have been closing, and the doors are closing more due to, and I'm not political, and I'm not going to get into a political conversation, but being on the right, you see a lot that's happening behind the scenes that people haven't even understood yet what's coming down the pipeline. And by saying that, I'm just saying that a lot is being taken away from us again. You thought the 60s were bad? Okay, wait another couple of years and you're going to feel like you were born in the 60s. So I'm saying, get an education, get a trade, go to college, get a degree, whatever's gotten you on the left, if you will, right now. It may be good, but it may not get you to that path where you can take care of yourself in these challenging times. We're living in some difficult times because everything is expensive today. You got
Well,
to bring that income
I was gonna say, it was hard for us too. We had to ride an iron horse just to get from point A to point B. It's called the man. Come on,
The iron, the really iron horse. Yeah,
yeah, we had an iron horse. The
in. You're
good thing
talking the
about,
train.
yeah,
yeah.
Okay, well, you riding the train and we walking, 5, 10 miles. Come on, guys. Come on.
I'm just saying, perspective. I put it in perspective.
I hear
Shoot.
you.
No, but I definitely understand. I think is another song title. This could be almost like the rebirth of the '60s in a sense, by the way things are happening. The blatant problems, challenges, disrespect, um, lack of accountability, lack of concern for others. In many ways, in my eyes, I'm looking at the generation or the era that we're
Yeah.
living in now as a sort of a rebirth of the 60s and maybe even some of the 50s, because
Mhm.
some things that are happening, it's just in a more modern time. It's the same thing that happened then. It's just a more modern time. I don't think
Right.
we necessarily have to wait for a couple of years. No disrespect to your comment, but it's literally happening now. Now I'm seeing some sun at the end of the tunnel, but honestly, I think that sun that we're seeing at the end of the tunnel was paid and bought.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a good thing in the big scheme of things, but I think it was arranged to be that for those that are in power so that they can seem like we've done a great thing. Can't you just appreciate us? Whatever, man.
You sound just like him.
Well, that type of
Yes,
person,
that's
right? Come on, Carl. I know you're gonna come on board, aren't you? Tell your
Well,
people it's okay.
no, I think things are going to be okay. I just think that we need not to implode on one another. We need to recognize that God has us, have always had us. We've overcame some of the worst challenges in history, and we will overcome these challenges today. But we can't do it just by talking about it. We gotta build that unconditional love connection, and that's what Synergy Girl is all about. You know, we're building that unconditional love connection, and we're sharing your stories. We're connecting you with people that's going to get you to the next level. We're using technology. We're using even some AI, if you will. We're using branding platforms. I mean, we don't have to work hard. We just have to work smart. And knowing what tools and contents to use to help you work smart is really, really important today.
I realize I will probably miss your podcast because, and then it's just clicking to me. The day that you're launching your podcast, I've got to speak. I got a speaking
Mm,
engagement at a high school, and so I'm going to be trying to add my 2 cents at
yes.
making the world better by encouraging and empowering some young folks.
Yes.
And I'm looking forward to that because that's just something that I've done for a long time. But
But the great
anytime.
thing is the podcast is recorded. You can always go back and watch it. You can go back and make comments. You can ask questions, and believe me, I will answer.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
say, I happen to know the lady that's doing it, so I can always get the inside track. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
are there any other tips or insights about the upcoming podcast, about something you're working on or working towards that you like to share?
Yes, absolutely. So 2026, and I'll talk about the podcast a little bit more in a second, but 2026, we're doing our 10th annual youth gala. And it's going to be for the Rosa Youth Empowerment Series. So the alumni who took the training that we offered in 2016, 17, 18, 19, we're going to just, bring them on, and they're going to be sharing what they've learned in the field of project management. But we're going to recognize and honor them because they didn't have to take that Outrise program, but they did. So we're doing a gala in 2026. So just, keep 2026 in mind. We'll give the save the date flyer later, but we'll be definitely working with our team and to get that information out. But the podcast, let me just tell you, we're taking it to the next level. We're not giving it away. We're asking for sponsors, we're asking for investors, we're asking for volunteers, team members, and also, more speakers to sign up for the Sharon Lee Briefing podcast show. We're asking you all to invest, into your video production. We're going to create a video production for you. We're asking you to send us 10 pictures, and we're going to do like a little movie skit for you, right? And we're going to share that movie skit on our podcast show, and that will be your investment to for us and also the community for Synergy Girl. So just know that we like to share, but we like to give gift as well. That gift is your legacy, that legacy of your story. So if you're interested in being a speaker, um, you know, contact me on, of course, on 202-365-8277. If you're interested in being a sponsor and an investor, a team member, or a volunteer for the podcast, you will not be disappointed because we're about to go to another level, but we are investing in ourselves and we want you to invest in us as well.
What you got, Carl?
So, your podcast, Well, how does someone or how do you pick your guest for your podcast?
So, like I said earlier, because of the connection God has allowed me to make over the years, I do a couple of things. I send out newsletters. I have a contact list of over 1,000 people, and in my newsletters, we make the announcement, the podcast, say the date the podcast is coming, and just like I just did, a little promo to ask for speakers, guests, sponsors, and investors. We put that in our newsletter. I also create a press release, so I have like email distribution list of over 1,000 people as well. So yesterday and today, we're sending out press release on what the podcast consists of, who our first guest speaker is, which is going to be Commissioner Barbara Spencer Dunn. And for those who don't know her, she's a author, she's an entrepreneur, she's an activist, she's a former commissioner for the Maryland Commission on African American History and Culture. And she used to also work for the Asala organization. And the Asala organization are the organization that creates the Black History Month theme every year. So she's going to be a powerhouse speaker just kicking off our third season. We promote it on social media. So y'all have seen it on Facebook. You've seen it on Instagram. You've seen it on TikTok. You've seen it on X. We market. So when you see it, that's your invitation to contact me and say, Ms. Parker, I want to be a guest on your show. I want to be a sponsor. I want to be an investor. I want to be a team member. I want to be a volunteer. And the opportunities, believe me, are going to be unlimited because I've made those connections over the last 18 years in the community, and I just want to connect them with you.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
That's fantastic. So, you've been an entrepreneur for quite some time, and, can you name some of the organizations and some of the big names that, people probably know, but didn't realize that you've been able to make some contacts with, or you've worked with their organization? Can you share a few of those names? I know there's a lot. You can't share them all, but can you share some of them?
Absolutely. I mentioned earlier that I used to be the president for the Blacks in Government organization. There was a chapter at the HUD building called the Robert C. Weaver Blacks in Government chapter. Look up Robert C. Weaver as far as a historian. His story is very, very profound. So I was the president for that chapter. So that's one organization that I was affiliated with. Look up the National Congress of Black Women. Dr. Ife Williams, who have her own podcast show, allowed me to bring some young children into her headquarters to teach them project management for a few years. So I worked with her and the students to, just get them exposed to legislative people, Congress people, senators, when she would do her annual luncheon. So the National Congress of Black Women, the National Urban League. Look, these are historical organizations, guys, right? The National Urban League. I work with them personally, volunteering, serving on their Whitney H. Young platform when they do their annual galas or whatever. The NAACP. I come in as a media press release. I capture their story. I share it, on all of my platforms. And right now, I'm also working with a national organization called American Mothers, Inc. American Mothers, Inc. was established back in 1931. Guess where, guys? In New York City, right?
I didn't think you were that old.
Oh, stop it. I'm working with them. I'm saying they were established in 1931 in New York City, and Eleanor Roosevelt's sister, Sarah Roosevelt, J.C. Penney's Marriott, the ones who created that worked to get this organization established. And for the last 90 years, they've been honoring moms all over the country. And I happen to serve on their national board going on 3 years now. And
but you've had several positions with them. You were...
Yeah.
What were the different? No.
So I started my own association here in Maryland first. I was recognized in 2013 as the Maryland Mother of Achievement, and then I worked myself up to having my own association established, and then I got on the board as what they call an Area 5 coordinator.
Weren't you a chapter president before that?
Well, I just mentioned it. Yep, the association in Maryland. I formed the organization here in Maryland. And I was able to be the president of that for at least 4 years, maybe even 5. I went on to serve on the national board for the Area 5 coordinator, which gave me access to Maryland, DC, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Alabama, Delaware. I was able to reach out and coordinate with moms in all of those states. And now I serve as the bylaws chair on the National Board of American Mothers. And like I say, the connections are unlimited. So I just thank God just for allowing me to keep that synergy mindset, understand that I can't do it by myself. It's always best when we work better and effectively together. And that's what I believe God has allowed me to connect with so many different powerful platforms.
Gotcha. What you got, Carl?
So, as you've been working on these things and connecting with the people that you've contacted, which one? Well, none of them are best. They all best, but which ones that you enjoyed the most?
Guys, I tell you, this answer is I don't know if you're gonna like this answer, but it's what I put in. The volunteering efforts that I put in caused me to enjoy every last one of those platforms, because I was learning from every last one of those platforms, but I was working while I was learning. I love me. I love my culture. I love African American history and culture, and that is my baby. That is my passion. But I like to consider myself a crossover person now, and I never thought I could be a crossover person. I thought I was
What does
always.
that mean?
Well, it means to me that I used to always be everything Black, everything African American, and it was hard for me to relate to other cultures, especially being from the 60s, especially the white Caucasian culture. It was really, really tough for me to relate to them. But I had to come out of my own way and say to myself that everybody, of different race don't have an issue with Blacks. If you're able to meet those who really are passionate about, your culture, passionate about you, passionate about what service you bring, try to get in and help so that you can make things a little bit better for the others. I was having a conversation with a young lady today, and I told her, I said, because I know me, I know myself, it doesn't matter what platform I get on. It doesn't matter if you're white, if you're Asian, if you're Black, if you're Mexican, whatever. I'm gonna walk in Black, and I'm gonna stay Black when I'm there. So when I come in, I'm not selling myself for nobody. You're gonna know about Rosa. You're gonna know about what we've done over the years. But I'm gonna also give you some of my insight. I'm gonna give you some of my skills. I'm gonna work as much as I can because I know what God put in me. And thanks to other people He's connecting me with, I've learned so much, and I just want to share it across the board. So that crossover, I guess the crossover appeal, I can honestly say I finally got there, but it was hard. And in today's time, it's a little challenging because of what we're going on in our culture and all these other issues. But I am not afraid to go out there and meet people of different cultures, different race. But most importantly, I'm serving as I do it. And I hope that I can inspire our next generation. Don't be afraid to go to the places you don't know. Don't be afraid to go to DC. Your ancestors created DC. They created this state-going country, and they added value. Don't be afraid to show up as who you are, because you are powerful in your own right, and it's your time to show people what you're made of. Just be respectful. Just learn. Just volunteer. Just add value every step of the way.
Sounds good. What you got, Carl?
Well, adding value is the key to anything. When you add value, that's where the connections come. I mean, I guess nobody want nobody that you can't add nothing to, or you ain't helping.
That's right.
So I mean, yeah, sometimes I have that problem.
But you're right. But the thing is, I think no matter how old we get, you should still put yourself or be open to growing so that you can continue to add value. Because, I just realized, like I remember hearing one of my mentors say, maybe 10, 15 years ago, he was like, yeah, man, I finally got my keynote where I need it. Now, when he said that, I'm like, huh? you've been doing this for like 20 some odd years. And I understood it when I thought about what he said. But just the other day or about a week ago, the same thing happened to me. And I was like, oh, snap. Maybe I should do it differently. You know, I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if I'm right. But you know what? Excuse me. I'm going to do it differently, and I'm going to find out, which means I'm continuing to grow, continuing to evolve, and continuing to be open to the possibilities that there's still more to learn and more that I can give. Because once I learn whether this new approach works or not, then I can apply it accordingly. So yeah, the value part, that's real big. That's really important.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for sharing your time and, sharing the updates. I'm hoping that something that was said would inspire other people to continue on in their journeys, whether it's because of a furlough, a shutdown, or just because something's pricked their heart and they're like, you know what? If these guys, even though they're young, you got one guy 21 and the other two, God knows how old they are. If these folks can still be excited about being entrepreneurs, maybe I can as well. In fact, maybe they can learn something from the conversation. So much success on your relaunching your podcast. Much success on the all things turkey.
Oh, there you go. everything turkey.
Everything turkey. Okay, ETT. Everything turkey, and all the other endeavors that will be coming up in the future books as well. So any closing comments, Carl?
I just keep doing your thing. I want my autograph picture because you're gonna act like you don't know somebody.
Hey, don't feel bad. I mean, I encouraged her to do this, that, and the third, and she started getting hired for it. I ain't got no cha-ching. So,
well, later for the cha-ching, I don't need the cha-ching, just my autograph, and that's good for me.
Man, hit me off, man. Shoot.
Man, with the autograph, matter of fact, it'll be a poster. With the poster, I could charge them to come take a look at the poster. So
I love it. I love it. Thank you. But being a servant leader is what it's all about, guys.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. You're sexy, so good to me.